for the news!
There we go.
Ow.
Okay, well, the first piece of news we're going to be looking at is from the guys at Games Workshop and also Ulysses, who are the North American version of Ulysses Spiel. And this is that they are bringing Wrath and Glory, the role-playing game, out later this year. Now, this is going to be a role-playing game set in the world of Warhammer 40,000. So if you like your Grimdark and stuff like that, this is going to be condensing all that down into an awesome system. It's very, very simple and easy to learn. There's a really awesome example of play style comic that Games Workshop have actually done, which is really nice to check out. But the whole idea, this is you're going to be playing as the likes of the Adeptus Mechanicus, Inquisitors, Guardsmen, even Space Marine Scouts as well, going through the world of Warhammer 40,000 in a cool, awesome role-playing setting, which is very, 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 very cool indeed. I believe the core book is up for pre-order, as well as a whole bunch of other bundle stuff. There's going to be a Getting Started in the Adventure that is, I think it's available free to download throughout the rest of July. So check that out if you want to get involved in that sense and sort of work out a little bit more about the mechanics and stuff like that. You can also watch a whole bunch of different sessions that have been done online with some of the creators and things too. There's also going to be a starting multi-part adventure book, a sort of adventure module that's coming out called Dark Tide, which is set on its own planet. So there's a whole bunch of link scenarios and campaigns for you to get stuck into with there. And yeah, it just looks awesome. Anyone that loved the likes of Dark Heresy and Death Watch and all that kind of thing when it came out from FFG, you've now got a new way to get back into role-playing in the world of Warhammer 40,000. So yeah, looks very, very cool indeed.
I can't wait for this. In fact, we're trying to see if we can get a playthrough. So Sam and Justin and Co we're gonna try and hook them up with one of the creators. And see if they can get.
See, I remember the last time I went role-playing in the Warhammer 40k universe. Things did not end well.
Well, here, let me pose a little mini challenge to each of you. Yeah. But before I do that, I did have to have a double take at the running order here, because it says Wrath and Glory role-playing game. But I looked down at it and I saw Glory Hole. And I was like, what? Ow. And I was like, what is this? But it's okay. It's better.
A Glory Hole. A glory hole is what's left in your body when a bolt around goes through it.
Exactly.
There we go. Well said, Ben. Okay. A true servant of the Emperor.
Okay, so if you got to play anything in 40k, you got to role play anything, what would you choose?
Oh, mine's easy. For me, I love reading like the Eisenhorn and the Ravnor series. So I would love to play either an Inquisitor or an Inquisitorial Henchman.
Okay.
So you want to play Dark Heresy again, basically?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing in that.
Dark Heresy was a great game. Yeah.
That, and I accidentally set a Mechanic Shrine on fire once. Sorry.
Sam?
For me, I love my Xenos. I'd probably want to be an Eldar Ranger.
I don't think you have the option for that.
No,
well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. What they've done in this is they've actually extended it to include a lot of freebooter stuff. So you can play the likes of an Orc Commando that might be hanging around with some of the freebooters and things like that as well. And there's also going to be Eldar in there as well. So it's very cool.
Yeah. That I like, because unfortunately the back with the FFG ones, they were great games. And they still are.
Lots of tokens.
Yeah. Not so much for those ones. The unfortunate restraint on them was they was nearly all Imperial focused. There was some chaos as well, but you couldn't really roleplay as the aliens much.
So what would you do as a ranger? What do you think would be your kind of your shtick if you were an Eldar ranger? How would you play it?
Well, the rangers are the best snipers.
Yeah.
So I'd be playing it very much as the party rogue, and
so you would be playing the ranger,
Eldar ranger.
Yes, but the D&D ranger.
Okay. Now I'd be focusing on the exploration side, wandering around these cities and trying to dig out its secrets, not through the diplomatic paths, which I usually play in my characters, but more through just investigation and stealth.
Yeah, see, I don't generally...
Sorry, Justin, I know you just got intellectually, virtually bitch-slapped there by Sam, but I still care about you, man. It's okay. As an Inquisitor, how would you play it?
Very simple. I mean, like, I don't do diplomacy. I will literally be grabbing the local citizenry and shaking the lies out of them with a bolt pistol to their head.
Okay. Fair enough.
Intimidation. You know, the classic way to play an
Inquisitor. And you'll be studying the rulebook to learn the meta of how you get the best out of that then, yes? What about you, Sam?
If I was going for the meta, you'd be playing a Space Marine because you're nigh unkillable.
Ben, what about you?
Well, interestingly, I'd actually want to try and play a Space Marine, but I'd want to take it based on the kind of thing that they showed off in the example to play thing, where you play as a scout. but I'd be sort of flipping on its head, and I'd be playing as a Space Wolf Scout, who are actually the older, like the more experienced Space Marines.
Yes.
Because I ran a character in the Deathwatch campaign that I was in called Ivar, and he was a Space Wolf Deathwatch Marine. And so I'd like to maybe tell a little bit of a story of what happened maybe when he left the Deathwatch, went back to Fenris, and became like a Space Wolf Scout again, and now is serving as part of an inquisitorial team or something like that, sort of sharing his expertise and things. So I think that'd be cool to do like the grizzled veteran sort of thing. I think
and that has nothing to do with the fact that a Space Wolf Scout is probably the closest thing you get to a dwarf currently, in the other than a squat.
Squats are back in Necromunda.
A squat.
A
single squat.
A single squat.
Now,
I think
you play an orc.
Nope.
I think you could play an orc really well.
I wouldn't. Do you know what I would try to play? I'm not sure how I'd pull it off. I'd be epic, of course, but I'm not sure I'd pull it off. I'd like to play a Tyranid hive mind. Okay.
So maybe Gene Stealer Cult?
Well, I'm thinking if I can't pull off an actual synapse creature or something like that is part of the hive mind, so I have to have some kind of intellect, Justin.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm just playing a non-intellect. I wasn't even going to go there with an insult, man. So don't you worry. But it maybe something from the Gene Stealer Cult could be a kind of thing. But I like the idea of actually maybe playing a synapsed group of nids or something like that to give that kind of thing. I don't know. If I couldn't do that, I think I would play a tech priest.
Tech priests are so much fun to play. I played that and had a long and deep conversation with the toaster.
Yes. I think a tech priest, because I learned a lot about tech priests when I was reading, I think it was Titanicus, and all of the kind of almost like binary languages and everything that they communicate with. I think there's a lot of scope for interesting things that you could do as a tech priest. I'm looking for interesting alternative kind of experiences that I could have within the 40k universe rather than what I already know.
The way you could kind of work it, if you wanted to do something to do with the Gene Stealer hive mind, is that you could almost have us being under the control of an Inquisitor who maybe doesn't play by the book, as it were.
Yeah.
And you could maybe have an Inquisitor that is trying to use the enemies of the weapon against them. And so he's like captured this Gene Stealer cultist, maybe has a connection to the synaptic abilities of the Tyranids and stuff. And so he's using it to control where the Tyranids pop up and maybe using them against the enemy and that kind of thing. So that could be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because then you've got that element of being hunted by the rest of the Inquisitorial forces as well going on. So you've got almost like the bad guys being the bad guys being good and the good guys being bad thing going on. So
yeah,
I do have one question about it, Ben. Now, previously for these games, they kept it very granular. So if you wanted to play as a Space Marine, you were playing Deathwatch, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you playing an Imperial Guardsman, you were playing, what was it?
Only War.
Only War. That was it. So everyone was on an equal footing with these things, more or less. Dark Heresy, you were Inquisitorial Henchman.
Yeah, which is where I found a love for it.
And then Rogue Trader, of course. So, but with this one bringing everyone in like this, how do you think that that plays out? How does that even out?
I'm interested to find out a little bit more about this as well, because obviously one of the things we saw in the example to play thing is the fact that there's a Space Marine scout hanging around with all these other regular humans, effectively.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I think what they're going to be doing is some kind of balancing mechanic in terms of way that stats work out. So I would imagine that Space Marines are certainly better physically, potentially more than the other characters are. And of course, you'll have role-playing elements to that as well. So like a Space Marine is not going to be able to do as much as, for example, a Tech Priest is or an Inquisitor is, and a Guardsman. Whenever a Space Marine turns up, everyone's going to be looking at them with reverie and everything like that, and maybe do basically everything they say, but maybe that's not exactly what the Space Marine wants and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very
a lot of it's going to come down to the group dynamics there.
Because also your GM is probably going to have to look at it and go, okay, Space Marine. Well, everything's seeing you. You're the biggest threat. There's going to be more on you the whole time.
Yeah. But then that could potentially start to make it a little bit more boring for the others. But for me, it's about I think I know where you're coming from on this, Sam, because it's not only about balance, it's about fit. Okay? How realistic is it for a Tech Priest, a Space Marine? It starts to sound like an old-fashioned joke. It's... the Tech Priest Space Marine walked into a bar. It's so picking characters that are of likely to have some synergy and be in close connection.
Well, it isn't unknown for certain chapters to send out individual Space Marines on covert missions, even without their armor or something.
Yeah, or penitent missions where they've actually dishonored themselves and are now out fighting to regain their honor.
Yeah, and that's something I really like. I like the idea of the lone space marine.
One of the cool things that we've used in campaigns and stuff when we put them together and you've got slightly disparate characters working on the same footing is to sit down when you start creating your group and say, okay, so how do you know X number of characters within this group?
Yes.
And make up a narrative between them so that then you've got that narrative tie between all the characters there. So maybe like this character saved the other character in a fire and so he kind of like now owes him his life or something, or said he's got a blood debt or something like that, and that kind of thing going on. So
it's interesting because you know, I love the idea of the Ranger and all being involved, but it starts to get a bit Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it does.
You know, it's
Guardians of the Galaxy 40k version.